Hello there and welcome back to this Angular course where in this lesson we're going to be continuing our journey into TypeScript. And today we're going to be learning about types in TypeScript and all the different types that there are. So without further ado, let's get right into this. Alright, so basic types. So before I get into the definition of what exactly I call basic types, really what's just important to know is that I went ahead and created a lesson 2.3.ts here. So make sure to do that on your own so that you can follow along. All right, so basic types. Essentially, there really isn't any concrete definition of basic types. But in my case, I'm just using them as the usual basic types. So number and Boolean in TypeScript. I think that's actually really all in terms of the basic types. I mean, we also have like string, void, I don't know, maybe null and undefined also would also be in there. So yeah, we're going to be going over those basic types, and then there are also going to be some complex types that we're going to be going over after this. All right, but basic types. Okay, so let me make this a little bit bigger here, and let me make this smaller. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and create a basic type here, var. Okay, var, and we're going to do something like a equals 1. I mean, we've already seen this. And let's just do console.log a. So now a is going to be a number. We can do a number like that. There we go. Let's save that. Now let's go to open up our terminal here. And by the way, if you don't know how to open terminal, it's on Mac at least. It's control and then the little squiggly line. This thing. That key. So it's control and then that key there. I mean, on the Mac at least. I mean, you can also open it by going to help here and then terminal. There we go. You can just click on that. All right. So that's just, something to know if you don't know how to open the terminal. That's just what you got to do. All right. So let's go to run lesson 2.3.ts. Let's transpile it first, obviously. There we go. And then now let's run node 2.3.js. And there we go. You can see we get 1. Awesome. Okay, and we have string also as a data type. So we can do a 1s like that. All right, compile, run. Awesome, 1s. All right, we also do have a Boolean. Which of course we're going to use quite a bit in control flow statements. So we can do true here. There we go, true, awesome. And then we can also do, we can also do false. I'm not gonna run it, but I'm just gonna demonstrate. We can do false if you spell it out correctly, of course. There we go, true and false. Let's see, we also have something, we also have null. Well, I mean, null is pretty much assignable to anything. So even if we do, I mean, here we could just do null like that. There we go, we get null. And then we also have undefined. And then here we can do undefined. There we go. So really, if you're wondering the difference between null and undefined, and I know a lot of people do, so null essentially just means that that value sort of that value is there. It's just its value is 0 essentially. So its value is not there, right? So it doesn't have a value. Undefined means that it's just not there. So it may have never been there. It may never be there, and it isn't there right now. While null just means that that was there. It's just not. Its value is nothing right now. So yeah, that essentially is the difference between null and undefined. Okay, so there are quite a few complex data types, or at least I mean I'm labeling this stuff complex. It isn't necessarily complex. It's just so TypeScript doesn't call it complex. I just sort of divided them myself, so it's not, don't take this with a grain of salt, of course, the division of the data types. But yeah, there are quite a few. We're going to be going over some of the more basic ones here. So array we have first of all, and the array we do actually need to add a generic to it. We need to add a type, so we can do array of number, for example. That's going to give us an array of numbers, and we can of course add undefined onto that, but we're going to add an array of numbers here, 1, 2, 3, like that. And let's save that. Let me go and clear here just so that it's sort of a little bit more understandable. There we go, and let's run that. There we go, we get that array, and then we can do whatever we want here. And if we do try to add a string here, then that's going to give us an error. Let's add a string. Let's compile, and we should get an error. There we go. You can see we got an error. It's looking for an array of numbers. We got an array of strings, right? So that's the problem. So we do have an array. We have class here. We can make a class. like that. Whoops. Class, like that. There we go. Okay, and actually finally here we have tuples. So tuples are another data type. We can go ahead and do it like, to declare them, we do it like that. There we go. And so the type that we're going to assign to them is we can do number, comma, maybe Boolean or something like that, right? So tuples are used when we have, if we want to create a fixed array of elements, so they have, for example, like 2 elements and not more, so we know how many elements it's going to have. But the type of them can be different. And so that essentially is where a tuple comes in. So in this case, we're going to have an array with 2 elements, the first one of which has to be number, and the second one of which has to be a Boolean. So now we can do 1, comma, true. And there we go. That's going to be okay. If we try to do 1, comma 1 or true, comma 1, we're going to get the error. So we got to do 1, comma, true, because it's expecting an array with 2 elements, the first one of which is going to be a number, and the second one of which is going to be a Boolean. So when we go ahead and save that and run this, there we go. You can see that it prints 1, comma, true. All right, awesome. So let's see. We do have other types. So for example, we do have enums. So we can do enum, for example, I don't know, maybe car, Toyota, Lexus. That's kind of the same thing. But I don't know. What other car brands are there? I mean, I guess there's Mercedes, but that's just, whatever nowadays, all right, so we do have enums as well, and now we can actually make var b, and we can actually assign it a value of that enum. So for example, we can do var b car, right? And so now we can only make it of type car, so we can do car.toyota, right? Then console.log b. Okay, so we can do that, but let me go and run this. There we go. You can see that it prints 0, and it actually will print the actual index. So if we do car.lexus, it's going to print the index of 1, right? There we go. You can see it prints 1. If you do want to print the actual value of the enum, we would have to do something like car and then b, like that. And then that's going to finally print the actual string itself. There we go. Now you can see it prints Lexus. All right, and so those are essentially the complex data types. Now there are a few others, but well, I mean, there are a few. Again, since complex in this case, it's defined by me. There can be a few others. It cannot. I mean, I decide, but essentially those are the complex data types that we're going to be going over in this lesson that you need for now. All right, so we do have. I believe we do have one last thing to go over here. So yeah, any. So any, it's its own type here. So if we do car b any, we can assign anything we want to this. So for example, we can have car.lexus. We can have, we can make it, 1. Let me go and just print b here. B, there we go. We can have 1 here. We can have, a string. We can have Boolean. We can have an object here. So we can do string and instantiate it. Actually, I think it's going to be like that. A string and instantiate it. There we go. Give it passage. So it's going to be an object. Whatever we want, we could put into any. So that is just something to note. That is the any keyword. It'll just allow us to assign any type that we want to a variable. And we also do have sort of the opposite of any. We have void, which doesn't allow us to assign any value to the variable. So we can assign null and undefined as well, but nothing else. So if we try to do 1 here, that won't work. 2, if we try to do a string, that won't work. If we try to do a Boolean, that won't work either. So void is the opposite of any. It just essentially doesn't allow us to create anything, to assign any value to the variable other than null and undefined, of course.